We've got the Observer now, and Rishi is being criticised for his plans to put the children of illegal immigrants in cages. Listen, putting children in cages is a fantastic idea. Don't just do it to refugee children coming across the channel. Do it to all children everywhere. Every pub in the UK should have a cage out the back. They can just fling these little brats in, get them in there, have a pint in peace. Man, nobody's going to knock over the Jenga. Anyway, Bruce, tell us more about this wonderful idea.
Is that not the soft play area in family restaurants?
Maybe it is.
About?
Maybe it is. I just want to see it like less soft and more cagey.
Oh, wow, right, OK. And, yeah, you know, that's what I like about you, no grey areas. You're just in there. It's good. So, I take it this is to do with senior Tories condemning sickening plans, their words, which would allow unaccompanied minors to be held. And this is in a U-turn on past legislation. So, Rishi Sunak plans to reduce small boat crossings, and this will effectively reverse a ban on child detention implemented under David Cameron and open the door to the expansion of the practice.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, it does sound appalling, but we're facing an absolute cataclysm with. I mean, there's a projected 80,000 people to come across the Channel this year on small boats, and the country's already struggling to deal with the issue. So, I mean, I think the plans, you know, the plans to scrap the detention of children were made in times when this wasn't an issue, and now we've got to deal. I mean, more than anything, we've got to dissuade people from bringing children across the Channel because it's dangerous. We've seen deaths in the Channel. These boats aren't safe.
But I think that's the thing. Whenever you stand for people to take that risk, because I remember footage where they had contact details on the back of children's, you know, written on the back of them. And you kind of think, OK, how bad is your life wherever your country of origin or where you happen to be living is, that you're prepared to take that risk?
They're coming from France. So, I mean, it's has Rishi not been over there and paid them something like £500 million in which to help police the beaches? Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, so £500 million in France to help with policing the issue, and the political will. You know, we've yet to see if it really depends on the political will in France. But we've also invested in Albania, invested in stimulating their economy, so that people in Albania have jobs. You know, can get jobs there, and they don't need to try and make it to the UK to make some money.
I ran into a guy a few years ago, and he explained how immigration into the United States from a country like Guatemala, a similarly poor country, or El Salvador, basically destroys life in Guatemala, that all the men are gone and all the people have no income, and the whole communities are basically destroyed by this. So there's something bad, something you have to feel for people who are going to come with their children to this country. Yeah. But on the other hand, in this entire article in the Guardian, it not once said how old the children were. What makes a child a child? There's a big difference between a 10-year-old and an 18-year-old.
This sounds like a court case waiting to happen, Lewis. I mean, I don't want to read a scandal about you, but I mean, it's a valid point, because quite often people deliberately lose their ID coming across the Channel and then claim to be 14 years old when they're actually, you know, 20 or whatever. My friend Moses, he fosters he's fostered some refugee children and orphans and things like that, and he was doing it successfully. And then he had a kid placed with them who claimed to be a 14-year-old boy, but was clearly an adult. You know, he had to take him back to the place, because he's got, you know, his own kids. He couldn't have this, you know, full-grown man who shaves and everything in the same house as his daughter.
So how do they trace that, though? Because if someone comes over and they don't have any, you know, papers or ID or whatever, and they say, I'm 14, but they could be 21... How do you ever clarify that?
You can't. What they can do is look at the bone structure and look at I think the teeth will actually reveal, you know, to a pretty exact extent how old that person is. But it's a dilemma for charities. And obviously all these rules can be exploited and gamed by anybody who wants to come across the Channel. And that's why we're in, you know, such a bind with this.
The problem with this whole Channel thing and the immigration thing is, I personally support open immigration around the world. but I do not support at the cost of the local people.
Yeah.
And like with the hotels that are being occupied, it basically is destroying towns, I assume, because now there's no hotel rooms for tourists to come and visit or business people to come because all the hotels are being used by this. You got
and of course, rich people and governments love mass immigration because it provides cheap, unlimited labour for their businesses. Also provides customers for their businesses, and it's much cheaper than growing the people from scratch. You know, paying for schooling a child and all the rest of it. But it does mean, you know, in a lot of cases we're cherry picking the best people from other countries. We're picking doctors from around the world.
Even then,
it's unfair on those countries if they've trained up doctors.
It hurts both places.
Yeah.